Beard Wizard family. Welcome back to Beard Wizard Reviews. I'm your host, Beard Wizard Man, also known as Trevor on social media. Links to all of which you can find in the video description below, including ways to support the channel. Biggest thing you can do to support us is click that red subscribe button. We are well on our way to 2,000 by next April. But every little bit helps, and if we can get past 2,000, that'd be great. Also follow us over on Twitch if you're interested in gaming stuff. We should have a Tarkov wipe hopefully soon, hopefully tomorrow, in which case myself, Outbreak, and some others will be jumping back into Tarkov and streaming that pretty regular on Twitch. Right now I'm just streaming whatever I feel like streaming, but if you're interested, check that out and follow over there. We're getting close to affiliates, so every little bit there helps as well. So what is this today? This is a live review show, and I have added comic book reviews after a request for indie comics from you guys. The response was fantastic. I've had so many people send me links and send me digital copies and previews and all kinds of stuff, and it's been phenomenal. I have so much to choose from. I'm not sure I'll ever get through the backlog, which is a good thing. I want to continue to do this on a weekly basis. I meant to do it on Tuesday, and this week has been just completely upside down, and it will be for the next little while. So I missed yesterday. I didn't even realize it was Tuesday, and then I'm looking at today going, crap, I didn't do a comic book review yesterday. So anyway, we're going to do The Adventures of Sig and Joe today from Lunchbox Comics, at Lunchbox Warren on Twitter, who sent this to me. This fun comic, this interesting comic, and we're going to talk about it. I'm going to show you some of the stuff. I'm not going to show you the whole book. You can go get your own copy. I believe you can actually read it for free on the link in the video description below, but you can also buy it. I would suggest it's 99 cents. Just buy it if you want to support indie comics. I highly recommend supporting indie comics. The more indie comics that get supported, the more comics we're going to get, and the better comics we're going to get. Eventually drive us away from some of the garbage that we're getting from the major publishers, get more people out there, get more talent out there, and that's a huge advocate for that. You guys know that. So anyway, we're going to take a look at this. We're going to talk about it, what I liked, what I didn't like, what could be, in my view, better. Your view may be different. This is a review. It's completely subjective. I'm just going to tell you my thoughts on what I read, what I saw, as we go through this. And again, I highly recommend you check it out in either case. And if you do check it out, please drop the 99 cents and buy it. That's all I got to say. All right, so let's take a look at this. Oops, I clicked the wrong button. All right, so what is The Adventures of Sig and Joe? It's described here. Welcome to the Waste Can, a desolate, hostile mining moon filled with all kinds of treasures and dangers. Follow Sig and Joe as they fight for the little guy, taking on the evil forces of the Dab Corporation, the warlord Rex and his gang of murderers and thieves, and the hostile landscape they call home. They say it's a story of family, which I like, doing what's right, smothered in crazy action, insane characters, and lots of wisecracking laughs. I would have to completely agree with that description. They do a really good job of telling you what you're going to get, and they deliver. The story and art are by Warren Brown, editing and lettering by Max Weston. And issue 1 is called No Good Deed. It's just the story of Sig and Joe and his family, and in this first issue there's 2 different stories going on. The family themselves back at their home have a run-in with Rex, Rex's cronies, the warlord's cronies, and while that happens, Sig and Joe are actually on sort of a delivery mission, so to speak. They've acquired or captured some sort of alien squid creature, and they are delivering it to this town to make chowder. As you can imagine, food, they're going to make soup out of this thing. They need to deliver it in time, and meanwhile, there's a group of bandits that are trying to steal the squid for their own food. So right away, the premise is amusing. It's interesting. It's got a lot of action. It's got a lot of it does have the jokes. It has the sort of meta in there a little bit too, which we'll talk about. It's very aware of what it is, that it's sort of I don't want to say silly comic. I don't want to downplay that it is a good comic, but it is over the top silly. It is, just throw. I mean, the main characters are a cup of coffee and a cigarette, so it doesn't take itself too seriously, which is why it's fun. I've been reading a lot of the indie comics that are being sent to me, and some of them are very serious. Some of them take themselves a little too seriously. This one does not. This one is delivering you a fun, action-packed comic with some humor and some, like I said, a family story. And I can appreciate that. My novel is a family story. It's set in a dystopian world. I wanted a book that wasn't just about some hero that just goes out and kicks ass and saves the world. It's a story about a family. And that so far is what they're delivering here. This is a story about a family. And we don't get a lot of that, I don't think, anymore. They used to be more common in literature, and it's seemed to have fallen by the wayside over decades. And so let me find my notes here. So it is a good sci-fi adventure with some irreverent humor. It is truly sci-fi. It is the sci-fi elements are original. They're it reminded me of when I used to read heavy metal back in the day, and you would get those really outlandish clips and stories that were so bizarre. The aliens were so different and so wild, and that's what you get here. Again, a cup of coffee and a cigarette, as sentient characters in this comic book. Hold on. I thought the characters were very well written. It's just a little. They do have just a little meta reference throughout. In some of the, not throughout. I'm stumbling over my words. There's some meta jokes in there which I found kind of funny. Like, they are literally delivering a squid, and I believe it's Sig that makes the joke that at least this isn't a hentai comic. So self-aware meta humor is in there, but it's not too much. It's not over the top. It's not excessive, which would take you out of the story, I think. And the banter seemed natural between Joe and Sig. I thought those were very well written characters. I thought their chemistry together, because they're brothers, was well done. It was well written, and it makes me feel like Warren, the writer, I'm hoping, had a brother that had a similar relationship, because it does feel so natural. It feels like he's writing from an experience or from his own personal perspective, which was good. The art style, very clean, it is stylized, but it's done skillfully. Movement is conveyed well in the action panels, which is important. A lot of comics, especially indie comics, that's one of the areas they struggle. You're taking still images and you have to convey motion and action, and that's not always easy to do. It's not always very well done. In this case, it is well done. For example, and I want to show you some. This is the transition part that I don't know if always works, so we're going to try it here. I got to remember how I did it. Here we go. All right, so we're going to take this up. All right, so I'm going to show you a couple of the panels. Again, I'm not going to show you the whole story, but I want to show you what I mean by some of the art things that I liked. This is the cover. It's all black and white, which I don't mind black and white comics. I know some people prefer color comics, but at the end of the day, the art is the important part. Yes, color is nice in comic books where that helps the story, where it makes things more interesting, but it's not always necessary, and sometimes can actually be detriment. If you've ever seen before and after of a badly colored comic, sometimes the art is very well done, is really clean and crisp, and the lines look good, and then you get the colorist in there, and sometimes the color can ruin the art. So color's not always a good thing. I went too fast. So I'm going to bounce through some of the world building. There is some world building that goes on, which is nice. We'll talk about that when we talk about story. And some of the art, they do a great job of giving you good backgrounds, good skylines, very clean. Again, I like the art style here. it's stylized. It's a little bit cartoony. It's a little bit, but it's very unique, which is again something you don't always get. A lot of indie comics and comics in general try to emulate styles of other artists, and this artist Warren clearly has his own style and he's sticking to it, which I really like. At least I've never seen a style like this before. One of the things that I didn't care for as much in the art is the lack of backgrounds in a lot of the panels. Now, backgrounds can become distracting. They can become cluttered. And I can understand when you're doing close-ups, when you're doing certain scenes, you don't necessarily need backgrounds, but I could have used it could have used some more backgrounds. Some of the panels almost made the world feel empty when there were so many blank backgrounds. It just kind of made the world feel a little empty. Now, here's what I was talking about with action. You can see very clearly in this first panel here on the left, the action, the motion, everything is clearly conveyed. You can see the movement in these still images, and that again is not something that's very easy to achieve. A lot of artists, a lot of newer comic artists, a lot of indie comic artists don't do this very well, and Warren does a great job of it here. Let's see what else we were going to talk about. Which makes the world, yeah. So that's pretty much my. I'm going through my notes again. I used to do these reviews in written format, so I take notes as I'm reading the comic, and I try to do this as unscripted as possible, because when I do scripted shows, I find that I'm not very good at them. I stumble over my words a little bit, so I'm trying to not read directly from my notes. Right, let us bring this back down. That didn't work, so we're just going to scale it down. Loop, like that. Hopefully that looks good. Okay, so when it came to the story, they set the world building early and concisely, which is an important part, I think, when you're dealing with a comic book, especially when you're going to do short issue runs like this, which they're doing. You know, issue 1 is the only one that's out. It's only part of the story. You don't want to waste a ton of pages on setting your world, on telling the reader what they're about to get into. So, you know, it's set on the blasted moon called Waste Can. Joe, who's a cup of coffee, and Sig, a cigarette, have to deliver a giant alien squid to a town to make chowder. That's essentially it. They tell us the world right away. They tell us how it got there. They tell us about the FAB and the DAB Corporation, all within just a couple of panels. I think it was actually, we get the entire world build in 2 pages, which is all you really need. It tells you where you are. It tells you what's going on. It tells you what to expect from the comic. And it doesn't waste a lot of space, which is good. It also gives you some cool little art. You get to kind of see what the world looks like with Stack City and the planet and the moon. Sets it pretty quick, sets it pretty early, and that's a good thing. That's a really good thing when it comes to a comic book. It's not like a novel where you could deliver a 10 or 15 page world build prologue or set things up for the reader. You don't have a lot of space in a comic book. So well done here from Warren. This first issue starts strong. I just talked about all that. The backdrop, the world building, everything coming out concisely. Apologies. I'm a little distracted today, if you haven't noticed, so I'm doing my best. So anyway, that's pretty much it with the comic. It starts a good prelude sort of to the story. There's more issues coming. It sets your characters, it puts your characters in danger, which is good. It sets the stakes. Granted, the stakes are like they're trying to deliver this squid for food, but then why? What is the last panel? I believe it was Joe just sort of says, yeah, I'm glad we got this there, but I want to find out find out this bit of information. There's a reason he's going to this town, and it's not just to deliver the squid. So right at the last panel, you're sort of given this hook, this I want to read the next chapter because I want to know what is he talking about, what's the information that he wants. So well done ending it as well, Warren. So overall, this comic's a good read. Sorry for my sort of stumbling and over my review of it, if you will. This is only the second comic book review I've tried to do live. So hopefully as I go, I'll get a little bit better at it. Ed, yeah, like I said, the style, it's very stylized. It's a little cartoony. It's probably not for everybody. As far as indie comics go, I've seen much, much worse when it comes to art style. So while the style's a little strange, it is very unique, and it's well done, I think. But it's not going to be for everybody. Some of us are used to extremely detailed anatomy and perfect looking characters, and other people don't care as much and they prefer the more stylized stuff. It's going to be up to your personal preference, for sure. But good comic, overall a fun read. I put a link to it in the video description below. Oh, Lunchbox, thanks for stopping in. And yeah, I hope you, I'm glad you are here, and hopefully the review isn't too harsh. It's tough to do when you got to review somebody's work. I know as a writer, like I always dread reviews, like how rough are they going to be on me? But yeah, I try to be fair, and I try to at least not beat up a comic too much when I do these. But thank you so much for joining me too. I really appreciate it. That's it, guys. Definitely go to the link below. Check out the comic. You can read it for free, but I recommend picking up a copy. It's only $1. So check it out. Let me know what you think. Go check out Lunchbox Warren's site and his social media, which I linked his Twitter account below. And thank you guys. Absolutely, Lunchbox. Thank you, Ed, for being here. Every one of you, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And I will see you all again soon. You have a great one. Much love. Bye.